Welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chozen Live Podcast. Here we engage in tough talks and meaningful conversations. Each week, we feature a guest that will help us stay in the know. We're a podcast that brings the community to you every Monday at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to like and follow our page. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe so that you never miss a show. Now, here's your host, Jen Cares.
Well, good evening and welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chozen Counselors. I am your host, Jen Cares, the founder of Chozen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in, catching a replay, commenting, liking, and all of that jazz. I do appreciate each and every one of you. If you are watching by way of YouTube, be sure to subscribe so that you can always see when we're going live and what we're sharing. If you're watching by way of Facebook, you too, please like and share because we're always just trying to share some positivity with the community. I thank you to each and every one of you that tuned into our February series, Live, Laugh, Love, and Learn. We kicked off with me sharing about how trauma is real. Friends, over here at Jen Cares, we work to normalize the importance of us addressing our mental health. So friends, please do check in with someone as needed, as often as needed, because a lot is happening in this thing called life. And I don't want you to give up. I don't want you to quit. I don't want you to become overwhelmed. And with that, you got to be able to speak up and get some support. We then had MVP George G.T. Turner, who shared about good vibes, and he is our MVP because he worked to get some, he hustled, to share about what he talked about in the good vibes, because you never know the impact you're making in someone's life. And, though it was encouraging for me, it was also encouraging for him as his friends watched and shared good feedback of how they enjoyed his interview. Then we had T. Marche, and when I say she understood the assignment, she understood the assignment. So be sure to tune in if you missed the episode. Talked about being purposeful, whatever it is that we are gifted to do, making sure that we're going forth and doing just that. We then closed out with Walk It Out with Byron and Margaret McKee. And it brings me joy each time I get to go live because I get to meet some amazing people, some new friends. So I truly, truly, truly am grateful for each and every one of those that come on. And they talked about Walk It Out. Because sometimes we get in relationships, friendships, in ships, all ships, and can become overwhelming. But sometimes we jump out too quickly. So being able to communicate, talk about what's going on before making a rash decision. So it was really, really good. All of my friends that came on helped us to fulfill that mission of inspiring, motivating, empowering, and strengthening someone in their journey. So today is March 11th. It was just March 1st. Actually, it was just January a couple of seconds ago, right? But this month's theme is spring cleaning. And I know the weather has been confusing. I was in like a snow squall, things of that sort. Then it stopped. Then it came some more, rested on the grass. I said, I don't want no more snow. I didn't. And the weather can be confusing, but guess what? Spring is still on the way. And in my day, spring coming meant that it was time to do some cleaning. Sometimes to do some evaluating, sometimes to evaluate, reflect, and put some more pieces into play as we're coming into the third month of the year. We're ending on this quarter. So we want to see what's going on. Well, not quite a quarter because it's 444. No, 3, 6, 9, 12. Yep. We're ending on the first quarter and we want to be prepared for that. So what does that look like? It looks different for everybody. I know I'm trying to get this bag, couple baskets that I've had for Goodwill out of my house a long time ago, but that is the goal. So in spring cleaning this month, we're going to talk about different things as we close out this quarter and prepare for the rest of the year. So tonight we have a great guest. It's George Brooks. I'm going to get him on up here. We're going to have a good conversation. Don't forget to drop comments down below. Don't forget to share, join in on the conversation. Here we go. As shared tonight, we have George as our guest for Adulthood. So help me welcome our guest of the evening, George Brooks. Ooh.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm blessed. Every day is a blessing.
That so true, so true, so true. And today we get to talk about a pretty interesting topic of adulthood.
Right.
What comes to mind when you first hear adulthood?
Right. I think for men, adulthood can sometimes look a little different than it does for a lot of women, because I really am a believer in the fact that women develop a lot faster than men as far as maturity. Mm-hmm. So while adulthood may have a chronological age to it, it also depends on mindset, on and where you are in your life. So adulthood can kind of be a subjective term.
Very true. Very true. Because some of us that are in adulthood don't really want to be in adulthood, or still trying to figure this thing out, and they 20, 30, 40 years in, right?
Right. Well, and the thing is, when it comes to the notions of adulthood, we tend to all think, okay, at 18, you're an adult. By 30, you should have a career, a wife, 2 kids. And everyone's life and everyone's journey to whatever this thing we call adulthood or womanhood or manhood is supposed to be. Because none of us really know. Of course, we know all the tenets, have your own place, pay your own bills. But what does that really look like, especially on an emotional level and on a mental level?
Very good. Very good. On an emotional, mental level. Because it looks different for everybody. Some of us became adults as kids, helping raise kids, or parents running a household and you had to become an adult. Or you had to take on responsibilities that maybe wasn't really your age bracket, but it felt like you were doing adulting, and it got interesting when you found out, wait, you're still a child, but all this stuff you got me doing make me feel like it can be overwhelming.
Well, you couldn't have really bad. Okay.
All right. We're going to get into these comments. Hey, Jeannie, you spring clean today. Another thing about adulthood is going grocery shopping. And Jeannie is my god sister. I went grocery shopping before our episode tonight. That was a fun part of adulthood. Hey, Margaret, yes, absolutely. Adulthood is overrated. My favorite was I wanted to be a Toys R Us kid. I don't want to grow up. I really felt that thing, because it's nice to feel like you don't have to grow up. But there are some perks. So while we wait for the guests to come back, I need y'all to communicate just a little bit with me. Let's chat a little bit. There are some perks to being an adult, but to those that are tuning in, was it what you thought it would be when you finally became, I'm grown, I could do this? I don't know that it was all that I thought it would be. I think because the responsibility that came with it, I had to make some good decisions, some bad decisions, and tried to do a little bit better. See, no, it wasn't what you thought it was going to be. See, it's an adjustment. We got to figure out what this thing is. All right, hold on. My guy's back. Let's check it out. Bam. Here we go. All right, here we go. Can you hear me now?
Okay, I think I'm back now.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm back now.
Awesome. So some of my friends in the comments were sharing how adulting really can be, it wasn't what we thought it would be. And like you said, it kind of depends on the different stages of how we got kicked into it. So we also have a quote of the day. The quote of the day says, adulthood is a never-ending journey of self-discovery and growth. Again, adulthood is a never-ending journey of self-discovery and growth. What are your thoughts on that? Can you hear me?
I didn't quite catch that last part. We're cutting out.
Okay.
Now.
All right. So our quote of the day. Our quote of the day is adulthood is a never-ending journey of self-discovery and growth. And I was asking, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree with it. It is truly never ending. There is no point to where you can really say for each individual where they reach what that standard of adulthood is for that particular person. And also one thing we have to keep in mind about when we talk about adulthood is that every person's journey and experience is going to be different. So that's going to impact them differently as they develop into each individual adult they're supposed to be.
Agreed. Definitely never ended. And the hope is that we're learning something new every day. What worked yesterday now changes. For sure, when the pandemic hit, what we saw as the norm had to readjust because the world changed and we had to shift with it. It is never ending. Right. Never ending. So friends, as always, I have prepared some questions, but be sure to drop your questions in the comments below. Hey, Margaret, she said, adulthood not at all was not what when I was asking, was adulthood what you thought it would be? She said, not at all. I'm turning 50 in June and still trying to figure it all out. Because it's never ending. Let me see. Belinda said, I have noticed that some people who were forced into being adults have childish ways that seep out, physical or emotional. Let's talk about that, George. What's your thoughts on that one?
Well, the thing is, then you kind of look into the area of childhood trauma. You're talking about children that are forced into adult positions before they're ready. So typically, I found, and in talking to clinicians, we found that whatever age someone is impacted by trauma, they kind of sort of stay at emotionally. So if something happened when you were 7, there's a part of you that's going to emotionally stay at age 7. So things like trauma, things like upbringing, economic factors, social, racial makeup, all those things factor into what goes into our own individual journey to adulthood. And we have to keep that in mind.
Yeah. It also causes us to want to be kind to people. I was reading something and it was showing how the student was late to class. And when class was over, he went to the teacher and he said, I'm sorry I was late. My mom died this morning and I didn't know where else to go. So I just came, here. And it caused her to reflect, like we never know what other people are going through. We never know what they're pushing past to get to where they are going. And we want to just be kind to them. Now, some people are really just doing stuff, but there are some people that are really, really going through things. And even those people that are just doing stuff, that little bit of love, that little bit of, kindness can help them along the way as well.
Right. Because I always try to make sure every appearance, every talk I give, as part of my call to action, I always say, let's try to treat each other better. Let's try to be more empathetic and sympathetic toward people, because we never know what someone else is going through. And you would think after the pandemic, this would be a lot wider notion, but it's not. But it is catching on. So I always try to use as my CTA. Let's try to treat each other better.
Very true. Very true. Last comment here it says Jeannie. She said, if I could go back and be a child, I would not have to pay bills. Bills become my best friend as we become adults, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, George, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
A little bit about me. I started a nonprofit called Meta Association about 6 years ago. We focus on Black male mental health, but we will help any and everyone. We focus on fighting recidivism and promoting healthy fatherhood. I moved to the DFW about 6 years ago after a bad divorce. I was recovering from a 10-year-long cocaine addiction, several mental health issues, poor chronic health, but I built myself back up to this point. And I was told by God to go ahead and use that pain that he put me through in order to try to galvanize and help other people. And through doing so, I'm hoping to heal myself as well. So that's why I do what I do every day.
Very nice. Very nice. So you shared, congratulations on a 10-year, recovery. Amazing.
Thank you.
When you go back to that time of anything that you might have, got into, because we all have our past and things that sort, what do you feel like was going on that caused you to kind of get in that vein and in that groove of using?
What caused me to kind of go down in the first place was a loss of myself. Not having the right kind of relationship with God and the being of the right spirit, being around the wrong people in the wrong city. It just became a perfect storm of misery. And once I realized that I was accountable for myself, and once I started to build myself up and think about myself, then my faith came a lot easier. Then recovery came a lot easier. Easier does not mean easy, but where I can manage it more and work myself and build myself up to this point from nothing, which I've had to do a couple times in my life.
I like it because again, everybody has their, different vices or things that kind of get us in that loop, but that losing ourselves, going into that misery, trying to learn how to be accountable to ourselves. It's a process because sometimes we're ready to give up. Life can become overwhelming. The responsibilities can become overwhelming. If it's not working out how we thought it would, how you share, you're 30, you're supposed to have kids, being married, yada, yada. That's not everybody's blueprint. And when life doesn't give you that, sometimes, it could be frustrating.
Yeah, I think something we have to keep in mind as adults is that all we really control in this life is our thoughts. and how we
Mhm.
react to situations. We can't
Yeah.
control other people. We can't. Half of us can't control our kids. So the thing is, we just have to resign ourselves to knowing that we can only control that which is within us. And I think once we do and let go of anything external, then that'll help with a lot of healing. That'll help with a lot of dealing with the trappings of adulthood that make things so difficult for all of us.
Yeah, yeah, so true, so true. Byron, hey Byron, he said, "Great job on the recovery, brother."
Oh, thank you. It's been 6 years as of my birthday, which is a couple weeks ago. So um, it hadn't been a challenge because as long as I have my faith in God and walk with Him every day, I'm okay. So I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
good and just trying to help other people through their process as well.
Yes, yes. And then that, again, that motivation, what's some words of motivation for somebody that is trying to get out of something, to help them keep that faith to say, okay, I can get out of this and be, like you of 6 years, clean of it.
Right. And also, I'm recovering from bipolar one. I live with bipolar one disorder. Something I have to manage every day, and it's something I deal with. So I feel like I'm blessed. I feel like
Hmm.
these things have not become things that have hindered me, but things that have helped me in my own way.
Yeah, yeah, very nice, very nice. What do you think has helped you to keep the faith, when you felt like losing the faith? What has been
Just faith.
encouraging for you?
Learning to accept that a lot of times adverse things that happen to us are happening for us and not necessarily to us,
Mm,
and to try to find a blessing and learn something in everything, good, bad, or indifferent.
very
And
good.
if you if you operate from that mindset and from a sense of gratitude, it'll help you out as far as staying the course and being sober and being healthy and being well.
That's good. That's good. Making the best out of every opportunity. Easier said than done sometimes, right? But when you do find that sunshine, when you do see the light at the end of the tunnel, it's like, all right, I can keep going just a little while longer. It's like, when you were in school, you couldn't wait till spring break. Well, you couldn't wait till the winter break, then the spring break, then you were done and you had your whole summer. So just knowing if you keep on going, a break is coming.
Right. And it's okay that you learn to be patient sowing seeds and give
Mm.
them time to kind of germinate and see what you yield from it in life.
Hmm.
There's certain concepts in as far as living that we should address in adulthood that we let go of when we enter adulthood. We should try to keep a childlike heart, try to keep that enthusiasm, try to keep not necessarily that naivety, but that innocence to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of people a lot happier to do that in life when you can. Give yourself space to be a kid again.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's good. A couple of months ago now, probably was last year, my job, we went to this place that's called Smith Playground here in Philadelphia. And they had this big slide that
Mhm.
you could go there. And it's like a whole playground of things, and we're adults and we're there for professional development. But while we were there, we, ventured out to go to the playground. So we're on a little swing and swinging around. I don't remember what it's called, almost like a merry-go-round. You gotta like run and keep it going. And then we're on the thing, climbing up on it, and then we're going down the slides and we're like giggling, laughing like we're kids again. And we have to have those moments because you want to enjoy those parts that make you happy, those parts that make you glad. And that childlike helps us to have that moment of, life ain't that bad at all. We balance it out. Big grown ups responsibilities, but also some fun responsibilities that helps us to not become overwhelmed in the middle.
Right, it's about having balance. And when we enter adulthood, we're not taught to have balance. We're not taught to cope with life. So we
Mm-hmm.
waste a lot of our adulthood that kind of in misery trying to figure all this stuff out. I think if we
Yes.
teach our kids better coping skills and better things like that, and
Mm-hmm.
things that we've learned as adults, it'll make their transition into the adulthood a lot better and their adulthood a lot smoother.
Mm-hmm. And
But
I
they
won't
have to
hold you.
listen, though. That's where the problem comes in.
Yes,
They don't
yes.
always listen.
Absolutely. You got to listen. But I also would challenge some adults to make sure we have our coping skills together of how we're responding to
Right.
certain
And part of being an adult is to continually evolve and continually grow and learning new coping skills and learning new things and being open to trying new things that maybe have not worked for you before.
Yes.
You have to have a certain amount of vulnerability and flexibility to be a full-fledged adult. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
something's going to be lacking.
Yes. Agreed. Agreed. So Belinda had a question. She said, So you say you're using your trauma to try to heal yourself. Does that cause a struggle when you're giving out and not fully healed?
No, it can actually help because I'm actually going through the process. So when I speak to someone, not only have I walked that road, I'm walking that road with them. And there's no one that's fully healed. If you hadn't trauma, you'll never be fully healed. All you can do is do the best you can and either deal with it or try to just to help people as best you can. You can't worry about where, as long as you're at a point where you recognize that you can help someone, then no matter what point you are with your recovery, you should endeavor to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's an ongoing process. Going back to that parent and child dynamic, the parent is trying to heal from maybe how they were raised or how things went when they were growing up and trying to put on a better outlook for their children and things of that sort. But every day you're working to do better. And sometimes you're like, oh, I'm just like my mother. Oh, I did that just like my father. Sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes it's like, all right, I want to change it up a little bit. But it's that ongoing process for sure. For sure. So when you reflect on adulthood, what would you say is your best lesson learned thus far?
Be patient with yourself. As you come into adulthood, there's already an erratic time emotionally and in so many other ways. And you're coming into something kind of gonna crash land. You have to try to ready the ship. Take your time, be patient with yourself. Don't judge yourself by the people around you necessarily. Look at where you were a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. As long as you're seeing progress that makes you happy, be patient with yourself. Try to enjoy the process. Be ready for the bumps in the road, but just be patient.
Be patient with yourself.
Right.
It's a good one because curveballs are forever coming. I did a thing with my job the other week talking about how like it's already life things going on. Then you get to work and work things are going on. The computer's not working. You can't, connect with the person you're supposed to be, teaming up with and things that sort. Something's always going on. So how to find that balance of taking a deep breath and going to those common skills or scoping skills to help you to kind of relax so that you don't become too flustered and frustrated in the moment too, but being patient with ourselves.
Right. And don't be afraid to say if you're not okay. If something's really bothering you emotionally or mentally, don't be afraid to say, I'm not okay right now. Don't be afraid to say, I'm feeling something emotionally I can't explain. Don't have fear in terms of anything that's going to have to do with your well-being, because we have to be our own best advocate. And, no one's going to want to stick up for you, advocate for you if you're not willing to do it for yourself. So let's learn to do that in terms of our health, our mental health, our physical and emotional and spiritual health as well.
Yes, agreed. So earlier you were sharing how, adulthood is looked at different, compared to females and males. How mentally prepared do you think you were for adulthood when it was time for you to say, George, I'm an adult now? Was it 21 that you felt like you was an adult, or was it before, or was it after?
Honestly, I think in a lot of ways, I didn't hit it till I hit about 30. Till I really felt like, okay, now I'm really at a point where I kind of know when I finally hit that real sense of, okay, now I should be, because I was, it just hit me at about 30, a certain maturity where I really felt like, okay, now I'm fully fledged. And I started thinking about life differently and things differently. So to me, it was around about that age. Not that I felt like a child in any way prior to that, but it was just different. It just hit me different my 30th birthday. So I don't know. I'm thinking kind of around about at that point on. So.
Gotcha.
And in some ways, I still don't feel like an adult. In some ways, I still don't. And that's the thing. We're going to continue to learn and evolve. The person you are today will not be the person you are 3 months ago. Something will have happened in your life that will have altered or changed your viewpoint or notion on something, because we're fluid. We're not monoliths. We're not stagnant. We're always growing and flowing and changing.
Yeah. Now in that process too, mentally, so like from 18, as a kid, you was like, oh, I'm going to 18, maybe at 21, you do a little bit more. But in that process of mentally, how do you think it was? Your mental capacity?
I don't know. I can just speak in terms of my kids. They usually think they're grown after 18 until those bills hit.
Yeah.
When those bills hit that first time, then they start to sound a second guess being an adult.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I really didn't have a lot of that kind of fire and bluster a lot of teenagers have. When I'm 18, I'm moving out. I really didn't have much of that because I knew the world really wasn't going to change for me that much, except for I'd be liable for everything.
Mm-hmm.
When I turned 18, I figured it like, okay, now I'm on the hook for everything with no more rights than I really had the day before. Yippee! But I was cynical, so my views on adulthood kind of led my way into it. And that's the thing too. That's the beauty of adulthood. We all have our own, experiences, and we all get to mingle and interact with one another. And that also shapes us as adults, the people that we become by those that we surround ourselves with.
Yeah. I think that's another thing that I love about with doing this podcast, because I meet so many different people and their walk has been different. And though the walk is different, it's still like the same grind. Like we all trying to make it. We all trying to make yesterday's version of ourselves prouder, today and going forward. And when you become bills, you really find out, oh, wait, I can't just go out and spend whatever I want. I can't buy me that, though I want that. No, it's not in the budget, and that's, I know, a cuss word to some of, having a budget or trying to be mindful with our funds and things.
Yeah.
But things do change when we go into adulthood, and we have to now keep our roof over our head, make sure we are getting to work. It's not that parent wake you up to make sure you're going to school. You got to make sure you're getting up.
Let's make this a good definition of adulthood. You reach adulthood that day that you realize that all the things you thought you'd be able to do as a kid, as a grown-up, that you can't do. You can't sleep late like you want to. You can't go out and buy whatever you want. The day that really hits you, that's when you're an adult.
Mm-hmm.
So,
in that part of sleep late, I got a couple of friends, I'm not gonna put their names out there, but they're not night owls. I'm a night owl, right? So it'll come like 8 o'clock. Couple on watching now, some of my family, it'll come 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. It's like, oh, I gotta go to sleep because I gotta get up in the morning. While me, I'll be up 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. After a while, it bites me in the butt. Because you can't sleep that late, because you don't get your sleep to be able to effectively get some day. It's a good one, good one.
And like a lot of kids learn, it's not I can eat McDonald's every day. It's not that. It may be more days if I had to eat potted meat, if anything at all. Because the struggle can be real out here.
Absolutely. And groceries, I tell you, every time I go to the grocery store, I feel like everything is more and more expensive. And that's a challenge, trying to adjust for that. Unless you spoil like me and my god sister.
You know what? That's the beauty of life.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of life, living it every day and getting to see everything through. So definitely.
Yes. Hey, Dennis said, understanding what I have control over and what I don't was the most eye-opening.
That is because you have to sit. Yeah. I study a lot of stoicism, and a lot of it comes down to what can you control. Look at any given situation. Look at a bad situation. Look at a good situation. Look at any situation you have and say, what really do I have control over in this situation? If it's not something that you can change directly, then let it go. And I think it will cause us a lot, because these are lessons I'm learning myself right now. I think it will cause us so much less stress and acrimony in our adult lives.
Yeah. So another part of adulting, I don't know if it's necessary adulting, because people of all ages have this, is becoming a parent. Right? So you say you have children. How was that process? Do you feel like that made you or caused you to grow up a little bit more as well, and mature a little bit more?
Yeah, of course it does. Anytime you have kids, you're growing up with them. Parents don't look at it that way. We think, oh, I had this baby now. Now I'm this fully formed, fully informed, fully competent parent. No, you're growing up with your kids. Because there are things that I've done, as far as child rearing when my boys were 2 and 3, that I would never do now at 13 and 19. Because we're not fully formed adults even when we have children of our own. We're always growing, and you're always growing as a parent. You're always growing as an adult. So a lot of times we will make mistakes in raising our kids, but as long as we have open communication with them, it's fine.
Open communication. Can we talk about that for a second, right? Because in the times we're living in now, children want to ask a lot of questions. They want to know what's going on. They're inquisitive. They just want to know. And open communication, which that goes both ways. I'm hoping of being able to have that conversation with the child and the child kind of expressing their feelings too. Because if we don't allow them to express their feelings or even ask the question, sometimes with respect in mind, I get that, family. But it helps them to then be able to have those conversations with others when things may not go as hoped or when things do go well. How was that? Why was that important for you in having open communication with your children?
It's always served me well. I've always been one to have very, very open communication with my boys. So we talk about anything and everything. And I just found it helps alleviate a lot of problems because they're very, very good about coming to me when they have issues. So a lot of things that can typically snowball with your kids, especially two boys and things with them, I kind of get ahead of. And like my youngest son, his mother is an excellent co-parent, so I really don't have a lot of issues with that. But you got to have the communication open, and you can't make a child feel like they should be afraid to tell you anything, even if your reaction is justified. Try to keep that on the back burner, at least to get them communicated to you in the first place, and you can go off about it one day later.
That's good. I also like the piece of the co-parenting. You're saying that goes well because that's a big part of adulting too, of being able to communicate with, the parents, for the parents being able to communicate, because then you're setting an example for the children, and so forth and so on. And sometimes it does work, good co-parenting, and sometimes it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Yep. So that's great that it's worked out for you. Because again, some people do have challenges with that.
Right. And that's you can do a whole other series of shows on that. So I mean, just in terms of your mental health and emotional health, it's about making sure you're developing healthy your part to make them as healthy as possible also. And that's part of being an adult, is learning how to form beneficial relationships and learning how to form healthy relationships, and not learning when to walk out for you. Not staying in familiar relationships or close relationships that are not for your benefit or actually working to your detriment.
Yeah. How do you think, what are some signs for people to know if the relationship is working to their benefit? Because sometimes people aren't aware, like, oh, my friend, we've been around years, but it's no longer serving you or doing good for you. What are some signs you think that help somebody to know whether or not they should stay in a friendship, relationship, whatever ship, or bow
out? When you feel like that person no longer wants to or able to pour into your cup. I believe in any relationship should be like pouring into cups, where one cup pours into the other. And that, if you look at it that way, when that stops and discussion and communication cannot remedy it, and that's at the point where it should be examined as far as what particular place you may have in your life may be appropriate with a particular individual.
Yes, for sure. And it's different because sometimes it's not, I don't want to say it's not that big of a deal. Sometimes we can give up on things because it's challenging us, because sometimes we need a good challenge. Sometimes we need somebody that's going to help us to be the best version of ourselves. We need somebody that's going to be saying, Jen, don't do it. Or Jen, why didn't you do it? So again, knowing that balance of what works and doesn't work for you is really, really good. Another thing I found out about you is that
you have to make up your own damn.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right. I try to coach people. I try to coach people dealing with mental illness just because it's an interesting niche and drama. I think that those of us living with a mental illness have unique challenges that most people don't face in life, especially being a Black male dealing with a mental illness. So that's what makes this interesting. And a lot of coaching is not necessarily in the certification that the coach has, it's in the experience and the guidance that they can provide. So let's try to keep that in mind as well.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with that. I remember going to school, to be a therapist, and sometimes in a classroom with the teacher, though they had to do an internship, they weren't like actively sometimes going out into the field and doing the work. So when they would say things, and then I would go out into the field, I'm like, it's a little different. And because of my life experiences, I can then address some of those things different. So you want to have the book smarts, but you also want to have that street knowledge to be able to mesh it to be able to successfully help those that you're working with.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And how long have you been doing life coaching?
Been life coaching about 3 years, been public speaking about 3 years, and I had my nonprofit about 6.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been about 3 years and all since I've really been grinding. It's just we've had the pandemic and we have had some other things kind of get in the way of a lot of progress. But I notice right now, starting out 2024, opportunities are opening up. Things are starting to come to fruition, and people are starting to open up shop again. So I think we'll see a lot more on as far as the economy and podcasting and public speaking and all those areas I think about to open up.
Very true, very true. So in that, for the 6 years for your nonprofit, congratulations on that too. What are the services that you offer?
Well, right now we're developing some courses for young men in terms of dealing with things like chivalry, mental health, emotional health, to try to help kind of stay the crime rate and some of the instances of substance abuse around our young men of color. We've done food banks in the past. We've done food giveaways during the pandemic. We're getting involved in some things with the community, with different civic organizations to try to spread the word about Black mental health and try to do what we can to help people. So you can always donate to us on Cash App Meta Association, METTA. It will go a long way to helping us fund some of these programs and initiatives that we're working on right now.
Mm-hmm. And what part of the country are you in?
I am in the DFW, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So if you want to collaborate, you can reach me at 940-808-8085. I just got the phone and it's a new number, so pardon me.
Gotcha. Yes. So, friends, that's pretty awesome. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth, right? Yeah. Okay. Yep. If you're in the area, you can for sure check out what it is that they're doing in the community of teaching the young men, and it's so important. I catch the train to go to work, and sometimes downtown it's a lot of young guys, and I'd be like, "What you doing out here?" It was like, "Man, I was bored." It was like I was bored too. So they need activities and a program such of what it is that you're doing to be able to encourage them and prepare them for whenever they get to adulthood and whatever adulthood may look like for them.
Right. And that's really important. At least we give those kids some semblance of some coping skills that they may not ordinarily get or may not regularly get or even know about or be aware of. So we can try to implement those things in place now and change the stigma that we have toward mental illness and medication, because that's where it's really going to start. It's going to start with getting young people on board and getting them not to feel as though it's a dirty word or something to be ashamed of. And if we can do that, and if we can start to kind of change the stigma and how people look at mental illness, then that's what's really going to open things up for them to really get better.
For sure. And that's kind of like, why it's our mission of, normalizing mental health, because depression is real. Anxiety is real.
Right.
ADHD is real. Whatever bipolar is real. Schizophrenia is real, and it requires sometimes somebody talking to you to process through the feelings that you have, so that you can figure out how to work throughout your day. Because depression can have you where you sad, close them in a closet, in a corner. We don't want that to be forever, so we need you to talk it out, doing baby steps of exposing yourself to others to be able to get out of the house so you're not stuck in the house all the time, because you do want to engage with others. We do need other people to survive. Now, again, you have to identify who the best people are for that. But yeah.
Right.
Linda,
and you have to have and like I said, a lot of that, especially in dealing with adulthood, we have to think about those living with a mental illness in adulthood. Yeah. Let's not forget those people, because they're dealing with a disability that's not apparent. You can't see it. So they're struggling with something every day. And sometimes even those people that don't have a diagnosable mental illness, they just may be dealing with something in life. They may be going through something. They may have had a loss, a job loss, something like that. Let's try to keep each other in mind as we're out throughout our day and interacting with each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. And before I go to this question, the other part too is that though talk therapy does work for some also engage in medication. And just like you go see your doctor to get the medication for diabetes or epilepsy or migraines, whatever that is, the medication that they have for the mental health world is just as important and just as beneficial. You have to find which works for you, because everything could cause a side effect, or everything could cause you to change up, but that's because your body's getting adjusted to it. But there are some benefits in it. So having that open communication with your therapist and psychiatrist as well.
Right. Exactly. And be proactive in your care. If you find that you're having side effects that are unpleasant, then talk to your doctor and see if maybe they can try you on something else. Don't immediately just throw your pills in the trash, which you should never just stop taking psych meds just all of a sudden anyway. But don't immediately just say it's the medicine that's the problem or it's not helping. Give it a month or two. It takes about a month or two for a lot of meds to really get into your system. If you have diabetes, you're going to take insulin. So this being a health issue, because the term mental health does include the term health in it, let's try to make sure that we are addressing it like a health issue and taking our medication as it is appropriate.
Absolutely. And this is where the importance of, talking to your family. And I know you don't want your family to know your business and things, but if something runs in your family, sometimes if they're taking medication, sometimes that medication may be good for your bloodline. In work that I've done with children that have taken medicine, we'll find out, hey, does anybody else in your family suffer with this? Or is anybody else living with this, pressing through with this? What medications do they take? Because sometimes they help for you. Now, again, it may be different, but again, you have to have that open communication to find out what will work for you and what won't work for you.
Right. You have to be transparent. You can't go into the doctor and not tell him fully what's going on with you because you're afraid and then wonder why you don't get any better. I mean, if you go and take your car to the shop, you're going to tell them every little noise the car makes, but we'll go to the doctor and lie about what's going on with us. Come on, we need to stop that,
Well put, because we want that car to get us A, B to Z. Well, we'll go to the doctor. Right. Oh, yeah, don't hurt that bad. What's your pain level? 3, and it's really 11. Get that thing checked out, friend.
That's right. That's right.
That's good. Belinda said, congratulations on your organization. How do you get your clients? Is it church-based, community-based? How do you connect with those that you serve?
Yeah, we're not church-based right now. We're really kind of gearing up, so we just take referrals, me doing appearances like these and telling people about my organization. I'm planning on going into the ministry myself this year, but we're not church-based. No, we are fully registered, not 501c3.
Very nice. Again, anybody is welcome, and in the church, anybody's supposed to be welcome, right? So in there, your nonprofit, anybody is welcome to come in and get the support that they need. And at the end of the day, it's really just showing love and care and concern to somebody to let them know that you want them to do the best that they could do, be the best they could be.
Right. And if anyone needs help, they can reach us at 214-810-6518. That's 214-810-6518.
Very nice. And you support anybody, no matter if you're not in your area?
I don't care. If you need help, if I can't help you, if we can't help you, we'll get you to someone that can.
And that's what it's all about. If I can't help you, who can I get you connected to? Yes, passing the baton to somebody that could do just as great as if it was my lane. What's a motto or mantra that you live by that helps you keep going?
Wow, there are so many. Mental health is fundamental. It's fundamental. It's fundamental to our way of life. It's fundamental to our individual liberties and existence. And it's a right for us to live in an environment to where our mental health can be protected and taken care of, to where we can live as good of a life as the next person.
Very true. It definitely is. It's the basis of everything. Our well-being. I, often share about emotional intelligence as well. If we don't know how we're feeling, we can't successfully sometimes get through a day. So if we're feeling sad and bothered, irritated, agitated, it's going to cause us to have a little irritated, bothered, agitated day. But if we can find out what it is
Right.
that causes us to be irritated, agitated, that can help us to say, all right, put that to the side and focus on this, and then focus on that when I can.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yes, very nice. I don't know. Is there something else you want to tell us? What's something else I think is good for us to know about that you think will be helpful in the spectrum of adulthood?
Okay. What was that? One more time.
So in the spectrum of adulthood, do you think there's another topic that we didn't quite tap on that you think is a good area to share about?
Wow. I think as far as my adulthood, there was a good spot that I think people need to make sure they address is the parenting aspect of it. Learning to be okay in the fact that you don't know everything. You're not expected to know everything. You're gonna make mistakes with your kids, some good, some worse than others. Think about that stage in your life. Journal it. That's something about adulthood I didn't get to bring up. Journaling can help you out tremendously. Just journal every day. Write down a paragraph of what you did that day or how you felt that day, and that can, when you go back and read it, it can give you tremendous clarity. But I think child rearing is something that we need to think that we don't pay enough attention to before we embark on doing it. But it can be a beautiful thing, but it can be a trying thing. So, and it's often something that's such a major part of our lives. We need to think about it more and address it more.
Agreed. For sure, journaling. On my phone, I utilize that notes app a lot. I have a lot of notes in there where I'm just like writing down my thoughts and things of that sort. So like if you're quicker with like typing in and things of that sort, because you always have it. I also have like a gazillion books around where I'll like take notes. I went to a meeting one time, she like, up, she gotta get her notebook. Yes, because I don't want to forget nothing. I want to make sure, I stay on top of things. But also the random thoughts that might come to my mind. As a kid, I had a diary, girls, we had diaries and things of that sort, and had to put that in the lock and key so nobody knew what I was talking about. But it's beneficial, guys. Journals as well as writing rhymes, threats, poetry, letters or whatever it is, just your thoughts. It's really beneficial because you get it out. You don't have to hold it in.
Right. It's true.
Yeah. So yeah, and that part of parenting too. I don't know that anybody's ever ready for parenting. As you shared, you grow with the children, and they grow with you, and you work to do better every day. And sometimes, that part of being patient and kind to yourself, you find out I was doing a good job. It was working out all right, but sometimes we can be hard on ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
What do you think your boys would say about you today if they could like reflect on what has been the impact that you've had in their lives?
They would say that Dad is doing okay, considering everything he's been through. He doesn't give up, and he's doing okay. So if I can get that endorsement for the two of them, that's all I need.
Yeah. And again, hats off to you because there's a lot of children that don't have dads around.
Right. I think mine gets sick of me. So I've always been extremely involved. And sometimes they have to be like, Dad, can I get a minute? Because we've always been doing stuff together. We've always been extremely close. So, and that's one thing that I'm blessed to say that I've never had issues with that. With my ex-wife, she's always been a great co-parent, very supportive. So, that makes it a lot easier for me.
Yeah, and that's pretty big. Again, several people I know, didn't have both parents around, or only had one, or had an extended family member. So it makes a difference when you have your father around, because it just makes a difference. It makes a difference. So they're blessed. They are blessed. Right. So lastly, I just want to ask, what is something that you want viewers to walk away with on today, as it relates to anything that we've shared about, anything, what's something that you want us to walk away with, to be empowered with?
Follow your dreams. Whatever it is that you would pay somebody to let you do, go out and do it. Find a way. If you follow your purpose, you follow your ambition, you follow your dream, you worry about the money later. The money will follow if the passion and action is there. So if it's something you want to do in life, if you're doing something you don't want to do, you need to stop that and try to find a way, even if it's on a part-time basis. If you into video games, go work at a game store. At least you be working in the industry. Follow your dreams, follow your interests, follow your ambitions, and you'll be fine. And stay prayed up. Work on your spirituality. If you're a believer, great. If you're not a believer, great. But follow something that's going to help you with your sense of purpose.
I like to follow your dream. Because leaning, right? There are some dreams that many of us have had that we've given up on for whatever reason. We feel like it's not, accomplishable. It's not obtainable. But like you said, even if it's part-time, on something towards what it is that brings you joy, because it's nothing like having a job. It's nothing like doing something that brings you joy, because you can talk about it, on a good day, on a bad day, when you sleep, whatever it is, you think that you don't have no energy. Have somebody tap into what you enjoy doing. It's like you wide awake and had a 5-hour energy and then you rank it. So it's really, really important, friends. Right. Follow. Yeah.
Right. That's
awesome. True. This is really good. I do thank you for joining us tonight, George. I hope you had a good time.
I did. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So friends, be sure to follow Meta Association. I'm sure you can Google it. You can find it in the Texas area. So if you are in the area, you can get support. If you're not in the area, you can get support, because George is all about helping somebody else to have a better day. Awesome. Thank you so much. May you have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Awesome, friends. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's episode of Adulthood as we kicked off our series of spring cleaning. Oh, I know. I saw your comments of sharing how adulthood is not quite what you thought it was going to be. But, those rewards do kick off. And it's great to be able to help somebody else as they continue to go on and thrive in this thing called life. Don't forget our quote of the day. Adulthood is a never-ending journey of self-discovery and growth. That quote is unknown, but it says adulthood is a never-ending journey of self-discovery and growth. Friends, I do hope that you join us next week as we will have Nia, as we will talk about generational wealth. Friends, let me show my face again. Let's talk about the generational wealth thing, because we get a couple of dollars and we're like, oh, we're excited. But we want to see how we can be able to help our generations to come and come and come and come. And for ourselves to be lively, enjoying livelihood. We get some money. We want it to last for the year. We want it to last for whatever it is that we're doing. Because sometimes we get it and it burns a hole in our pocket because we're excited. So we're going to learn about generational wealth and what that looks like as we're spring cleaning, planning for the rest of the year of 2024. If you have not already, be sure to check us out on YouTube on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Season 1 has ended, but Season 2 is coming soon. But if you have not caught any episode of Season 1, you want to make sure you head over to our YouTube channel by searching Chozen Counselors to see any episode. We had an amazing time with our 8 amazing guests. We had Beverly, Tahira, Byron, Jasmine, Nisha, Los, Shar, Karima, Ronnie, and Stacy, and it was a good time. I checked in and I was reading some of the comments that I missed. And friends, they enjoyed it. So you make sure you tune in so you can enjoy it as well. If you would like to be a guest of Jen Cares, be sure to email me or drop me a comment. You can email me at info@chozencounselors.com or drop a comment, and I'll be sure to reach out to you to have you on as a guest. Again, I thank each and every one of you for tuning in, for liking, for commenting, and coming back again. May you have a great evening, a great week, and remember, I love you. Good night.
Friends, we thank you for joining Jen Cares this week. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Unable to watch us live? Be sure to find us on your favorite podcast platform. You can also visit our website, chozencounselors.com. That's Chozen with a Z, to stay in the know and most of all, never miss a show. If you found value in this show, we'd appreciate you sharing it with a friend. Most of all, be sure to tune in for our next episode as we specialize in bringing the community to you.